In January, a dangerous social media fad led to several teens to record themselves putting the Tide Pod laundry detergent in their mouths and, reportedly, some people dying. Turkey, led by President Recep Tayyip Erdogan, announces the beginning of a military offensive to capture a portion of northern Syria from Kurdish forces amidst the ongoing Kurdish-Turkish conflict. On February 14th, a shooter broke into the Marjorie Stone Douglas High School in Parkland, Florida, and killed 17 people. This was the deadliest mass shooting in the country of the year. The massacre sparked a pro-gun control movement across the U.S., led by student survivors of the shooting. On March 24th, thousands of students across the world marched in favor of gun control laws in what became known as the March for Our Lives. In February, the Winter Olympic Games were held in Pyeongchang, South Korea in February. Jacob Zuma resigns as president of South Africa after 9 years in power. Data firm Cambridge Analytica accessed data from 50 million Facebook users during the 2016 U.S. presidential campaign without users' permission, but this did not come to light until March 2018. In 2018, Cuba's National Assembly elected Miguel Diaz-Canel to be the nation's next leader. Former Russian double agent Sergei Skripal and daughter Yulia are poisoned by the Novichok nerve agent in Salisbury, England. UK counterterrorism police investigate, and speculation as the Kremlin was behind the incident. China's government approves a constitutional change that removes term limits for its leaders, granting Xi Jinping the power of president for life. Xi is also the general secretary of the Communist Party of China. The world's last male northern white rhinoceros dies in Kenya, making the subspecies functionally extinct. Former First Lady Barbara Bush died at her home in Houston on April 17. She was 92. A woman opened fire on YouTube's headquarters in San Bruno, California in April. 3 people were wounded before the woman, identified as 39-year-old Nassim Najib Agdam, killed herself. Former Brazilian President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva was given an arrest warrant after a vote by the Supreme Court voted 6-5 in favor of denying his habeas corpus due to corruption and other scandals. At least 70 people are reported to have died and hundreds suffering injuries after a sarin chemical attack in Douma, the last rebel-held town in Syria's eastern Ghouta. The claim turned out to be phony. Kim Jong-un crosses into South Korea to meet President Moon Jae-in, becoming the first North Korean leader to cross the demilitarized zone since its creation in 1953. England's Prince Harry wed American actress Meghan Markle, now known as the Duchess of Sussex, on May 19. Television viewership of the wedding was higher than that of Prince William and Kate Middleton's, with more than 29 million people in the United States turning in to watch Harry and Meghan get hitched, compared to William and Kate's 23 million. The separatist group ETA officially announces its final dissolution after 40 years of conflict and more than 800 deaths in Spain. The U.S. announces that it will extend its tariffs on imported steel to 25% and aluminum 10% to include the EU, Mexico, and Canada starting at midnight. During the June 2018 summit in Singapore, North Korean Supreme Leader Kim Jong-un announced that he wanted to end the nuclear tensions between his country and the United States by signing an agreement with President Trump, including the denuclearization of the country. The Federal Communications Commission repeal of net neutrality rules, which had required internet service providers to offer equal access to all web content, took effect. The United States announces that it would withdraw from the United Nations Human Rights Council. Saudi Arabia, in a groundbreaking liberalization move, allowed women to drive for the first time. Arizona Senator John McCain died on August 25th at age 81. He died after battling glioblastoma, a form of brain cancer. In 2018, the Kivu Ebola outbreak began in the Democratic Republic of Congo. It became the second deadliest outbreak of the Ebola virus on November 29, surpassed only by the 2013 West Africa Ebola virus epidemic. When Dr. Christy Blasey Ford gave her testimony during the Senate Judicial Committee hearings regarding her sexual assault allegations against then Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh, women with similar voices were heard worldwide, starting the Me Too movement. Armed with an AR-15 and 3 handguns, Robert Bowers enters the Tree of Life Synagogue on October 27th and killed 11 people, injuring 6 more, police say. On November 1st, he pleaded not guilty to related charges. Washington Post columnist Jamal Khashoggi was killed on October 2nd inside the Saudi consulate in Istanbul, Turkey. This came to light after weeks of denials by Saudi authorities. Khashoggi, a native of Saudi Arabia, was critical of the country's royal regime and the Saudi role in the Yemen war. The murder has had major repercussions, particularly against the country's powerful crown prince Mohammed bin Salman, who the CIA believed was involved in his planning. Statistics Canada says the Canadians bought $43 million worth of pot in the first 2 weeks after legalization went into effect on October 17th. But it's clear that 2 months into legalization, the new pot regimen is still working out kinks in the supply chain and enforcement of new rules. Democrats flipped 41 seats in the House of Representatives and regained control of that chamber from Republicans. Several governorships around the country also flipped. Republicans, on the other hand, boosted their majority in the Senate. Northern and Southern California were both ravaged by wildfires in November. The Camp Fire in Wood County became the deadliest in the state history. A total area burned in the state just shy of 250,000 acres, around 400 square miles. Chinese scientist He Jiankui, at the public conference in Hong Kong, announces that he has altered the DNA of twin human girls born earlier in the month to try to make them resistant to infection with the HIV virus. He also reveals the possibility of a second pregnancy of another gene-modified baby. The cryptocurrency industry hit a peak in January 2018, having since lost more than $670 billion in capital. For years, predictions about the role of cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin specifically have been made, the latter's value changing regularly. France experiences the worst civil unrest since the protests of 1968 due to the Yellow Vest movement. Protests in Paris morph into riots, with hundreds of people injured and thousands arrested, over 100 cars burned. The Arc de Triomphe is vandalized and numerous other tourist sites are closed, both in the capital and elsewhere in the country. At the end of the year, the Dow Jones Industrial Average closes at 22,445 after its worst week since 2008. Thank you for watching. If you like this program, then please head over to my Patreon page and set up a monthly donation. It's your donations that keep this program running. Also, if you would like, please rate, comment, subscribe, and share in various social media.